All right, today I'm showing you how to build your own cold call script step by step. This is going to be a great starting point for you in your SDR role, and it's the framework I've used for 6 years in enterprise software sales, and I've seen this work in SMB, mid-market, and upmarket across a variety of different industries, so I know this is going to work for you too. So let's get into it. At first, you'll notice there's only 2 steps, and that's because I like to keep things simple and easy to understand. I think a lot of people way overcomplicate what goes into a cold call, when really I break it down to 2 areas. One is your cold call opening, and then 2 is your actual talk track piece, which is more the script. So I'll start with the opener, and there's a lot of different opinions out there on what makes a good cold call opener. There's a lot of different data you'll see on LinkedIn. I prefer to keep my cold call openers simple and repeatable. I'm not this sales rep that likes to try different cold call openers and gets bored with one, so I gotta switch it up and try another. In my ideal world, I would rather keep my cold call simple and the exact same every single time. And really the purpose of the cold call opening to me is to advance to step 2. It's how can I neutralize the opening, get them off that defensive tone? How can I take control as quickly as possible so that I can actually start telling them why I called? So this is why I've never preferred to use permission-based openers or pattern interrupts, which are commonly taught out there, because there's so much variance and so many different answers they can give you when you use one of those. What's most important though is that you feel confident. So if you feel confident using those and they feel good to you, keep using them. What I've found is that a lot of new SDRs are taught to use those, but they personally just don't feel comfortable. They don't have their tonality honed down yet, or the confidence or the skill set yet, and it ends up just setting them back. And what I prefer to use is what I call an assumptive formality, and the tonality is key here. You want to use an assumptive downward inflecting tonality. Basically what I'm trying to signal with my cold call opening is that I'm not here to waste your time. Just give me a quick formality back and then I'll go right into telling you why I'm calling. So I'll show you 2 quick examples here, one with the downward inflecting assumptive tonality and then followed by an upward inflecting tone. So the first one, hey Jim, this is Connor Murray calling from X company, have you been? And then contrast that with, hey Jim, this is Connor Murray calling from X company, have you been? It's not even that big of a difference there, but the first one signals I'm not here to waste your time and is more likely to elicit just a quick formality. Good, how are you? Something like that I can just take and say, good, I'm just reaching out because. The second one more signals, I'm here to chit chat. It's such a slight difference in your tonality, but this is something you have to practice off the scenes. Literally 5 minutes a day. You just have to hone in that downward inflecting tonality, because once you nail it, these cold call openings are gonna get so easy and just allow you to advance to step 2. And now that we're at step 2, this is really the meat of the cold call script. There's a lot taught out there on how you wanna structure cold call scripts, when you wanna start asking questions. My belief and my experience is that you wanna do most of the talking at the outset, because you just interrupted their day. They're often in a defensive state. They might even be on a meeting for all you know and just put themselves on mute to take your call. You need to be quick and concise and answer 3 questions. Who you are, why you're calling, and what you want from them, which is typically time on their calendar, because that's what they're wondering in their head subconsciously. Once they pick up a number and they're like, I don't have this person's number in my phone, they're wondering, who is this person? Why are they calling me? And what do they want from me? Or do they want anything from me at all? Key part to this structure too is its consistency. You can create a value statement that will work for a certain persona, and without having to change too much about it, just a few keywords, which I'll show you in a second, you can make it effective to any different line of business. If you're calling people in HR and then go to calling people in finance, or then going to call someone in IT, you can use this same structure and keep your script about 90% the same, and you just have to tweak a few words to make it more targeted for the persona you're going after. So as an example, the who you are piece is typically the company you work for and whatever your title is, but you can describe yourself in a way that makes it just a little bit more targeted for the person you're calling. So if you're calling someone in the healthcare industry, you can say that you're part of the healthcare team, or you're part of the strategic healthcare team. Then if you start calling someone in manufacturing, you can say you're part of the manufacturing team. These are little tweaks that make yourself sound more relevant to the person that you're calling. But the who you are is pretty simple. You're really just describing what your title is and what your role is. You can just say, I'm part of the account team, or I'm the account manager that supports X company regarding whatever you sell. Then we get into the why you're calling piece. This is by far the most important part of the script, and it's what really makes it a value statement. And there's 3 key ways that are easy to demonstrate your value to the prospect. In my opinion, you only need to deliver 2 of them. If you can get all 3 in, that's best case scenario, but you need to drill 2 of them. So the 3 key areas are 1, the priorities that you solve, or the challenges that you solve, however you want to frame it. 2 is how you solve them. And then 3 are what outcomes you drive when you solve these challenges. So those are the 3. What priorities and challenges do you solve? How do you solve them? And what outcomes do you drive when they're solved? So if you're calling someone in finance, you might tell them you work on priorities related to strategic planning, budgeting, and forecasting. Then if you start calling someone in HR, you might tell them we work on priorities related to recruiting, talent acquisition, people analytics. And then you can either name how you solve these challenges. Is it by reducing the reliance on Excel? Is it by centralizing the process? How do you save them time? Or what outcomes you drive? I prefer the first 2 because I don't think outcomes are very believable to most prospects unless you have really concrete evidence that's really specific to your company. Otherwise, it's really tough to get them to buy into outcomes on an off-the-cuff cold call, in my opinion. And then lastly, you need to state your intent and tell them what you want and the purpose for your call, which is to set aside time at a later date. This gives them an out. Most of the time, they don't want to have a 10-minute conversation with you on that phone call right now. They're probably busy, so you want to more acknowledge that you called them out of the blue, however you want to frame it, and then tell them you're looking to set up some time at a later date. How's their calendar look next week on Wednesday or Thursday? Finish with that assumptive, downward inflecting tone. So now I'll put all the pieces together and show you this framework in action. So I call someone, I say, hey Jem, this is Connor Murray calling from X company. How have you been? Good. I'm just reaching out because I'm part of the strategic healthcare team that supports X company regarding back office financial applications. And we typically work on priorities related to strategic planning, budgeting, and forecasting, usually by reducing the amount of spreadsheets being used and automating a lot of those monthly financial reports. And I know I kind of called you out of the blue here, so I'm more just looking to set aside some time next week just to get introduced and aligned with your priorities going forward. How does your calendar look on Wednesday or Thursday? So in about 30 to 45 seconds, I took control of the call, answered who I am, why I'm calling, and what I want, and got myself a quality shot on net. Now let's say I was calling HR people. I could keep that framework the exact same, except instead of saying financial applications, I might say HR applications, and the priorities I would name would be different. I might say payroll, talent acquisition, employee engagement, but the framework is largely the same. So that's the important part to take from this video. I'm not saying those words I just used are the best cold call script. It's definitely not. You can put a lot more time and effort into it, and you should. You shouldn't just take what I use and try and use it for your own company, because there's little tweaks you should be making based on where you work and the personas that you serve. Also, different people are comfortable with different words and different language, so it's really the framework I'm trying to get across. So don't overcomplicate it. Take this as a starting point, put it to use, start making tweaks, see how it feels, and let me know how it goes. If this helped, hit the like button, and I'll see you on the next one.